All right, so I know lights can be very non-sexy of a product, but it should be. It should be sexy to talk about the curves, the shapes, and all of that good stuff, right?
What?
But lights are expensive, but they are very necessary because you need lights with your productions. Even just with this YouTube video, if you don't have lights, then your picture is going to look something like this without lights. And that's just not good. So today I want to talk about a light in particular that I have used on an interview production, a short film production, a music video production. I've used it quite extensively for the past month and a half, and it happens to be now my favorite new light. It is this beast right here, a very powerful light, the Godox Knowled M600R, and I'm going to dive all into it. And I will say, full transparency, Godox did send this out to me for review, but they don't get to see this video first. All my opinions are just my own, and I truly do love this light. And let me just get this right out of the way. Normally this light is $2,500. Right now you can get it on sale. I believe it's $16.50 or $16.99. I'll put a link for the product in the description below. That is a phenomenal steal, and it's not just your normal 600 watt light. Don't let the numbers fool you, right? Because it can actually reach as high as 720 to 750 watts. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what it comes with. Let's talk about how I've used it and why I love it so much. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Neil here, and I am an inspiring filmmaker, content creator, wedding filmmaker, passion project maker, and all of the sorts. And on this channel, I talk about gear. I like to try to do lighting breakdowns and other tutorials when I can. And I have a lot more of that coming to the channel. So if that's something that you're interested in, please feel free to subscribe, stick around, and see what's coming up next on the channel. So talking about this light, it is an excellent light. It's fantastic. Let me just say right off the bat, and as you can probably see, it is beefy. It is huge. I love the perforated grills on the top. It has built-in fans, huge heat sinks, so you never have to worry about it overheating. It comes with a nice carrying case that stores the cables that it comes with, the light itself, the 45-degree beam reflector, which is the BR45. Knowled is Godox's premium line of lights, okay? It's not just your typical Godox light, the VL series, or the other series that they carry above the VL. I'm not sure, I can't remember what those are called. This is premium product. The yoke on it is nice. It has a junior pin because it is heavy and you're going to need something that's going to be able to hold it. Now this regular C-stand behind me, I do have a junior pin adapter because I have junior pin C-stands coming, and it's good enough to hold it, but definitely use sandbags with it. I would recommend at least 2 to 3, especially on the top, basically the leg that sticks up on the C-stand, put a heavy sandbag there. So the light itself, 600 watts is what it's rated for. Like I mentioned earlier, it can get up to 720 to 750 watts, which is tons of power. Basically, you can use it as a key light. Don't see why you would, because it's just kind of overkill. But if you needed to mimic the sun, so basically you're shooting from like outside, right? You're shooting an exterior shot through your blinds, through the door, through diffusion. This light is capable of doing so. As you'll see in the B-roll here, I was doing some kind of like different looks, different tests, whether that be like a warm morning, cool morning, silver moonlight, blue moonlight. I was able to use this light and have more than enough power. I was rocking it, yes, at 100%, but I just wanted to fill this kitchen, which I'm shooting in right now. Please forgive me. My house, I just moved into it and I do not have my YouTube set up yet. So that is coming. I'll do a whole video on that, but that's beside the point. Anyways, back to the light. It will compete with the sun. If you want that blue moonlight or silver moonlight look, if you're lighting up a dark room and you're doing an exterior shot for interior, this light can do it. So let me just talk about a little of the specs that this light gives you. This is not going to be anything scientific or anything like that. I just want to go over some of the specs of the light so you're aware of it without having to run to the website and look at a spec sheet. So the Godox light does an impressive output, and the output is actually more than what most manufacturers can put out at this range. 136,000 lux, 3.3 foot distance with the reflector that's included. The color temperature ranges from 1800 all the way up to 10,000 Kelvin. It has full RGB color control. It has support for onboard DMX, CRMX, and app control that's built in, ArtNet, and CACN Don't know if that's abbreviation for something or how you pronounce it, but it has Ethernet control. So you can plug in an Ethernet cable if you wanted to control it with an Ethernet switch. It's fan cooled. It has a Bowens S mount. It's IP54 rated. So that way, if you wanted to take it outdoors and it's raining a little light rain or even moderate rain or moisture, it is approved for that. You can use it doing that and not have to worry about frying your lights or your control box or anything like that. It does include the control box. It includes a power cable and a soft case. The CRI rating on it is 96. The TLCI rating on it is 96, so it's going to give you really good color accuracy. And whether you're using this light in just a white mode or a color mode, it still gives the same output as far as the lux output and as far as the color accuracy. With some lights and some cheaper lights, when you switch down from basically white to bicolor, say maybe if you're doing 5600 Kelvin or 6500 Kelvin versus 2700 to 3800 Kelvin, the light's output will decrease. It won't give you as much output and lux if you say switched over to bicolor. With this light, it's the same all the way across the board, which is really nice. It has a mobile app, which is the Godox app that you can use either on Android or iPhone devices. An iPad is what I really like to use it on because it's nice and it gives me a nice big screen. You can adjust the color temperature. You can go into the different modes, which this has a ton of them. So the only thing about this light, and I guess it's because it's so powerful and V-mount batteries that would work with this light would be super expensive, being that it's 600 watts and it basically would only last you an hour. So it is plug-in power. You cannot use V-mount batteries with it. So that's kind of not really a downside for me, but it may be a downside for you. But I do have a big power station that I use. It's a 25 milliamp power station. So if I'm on the go and I need to power this light, I can do so for up to 4 hours because I do have that. But just in case, just grab yourself some stingers, extension cords, excuse me, and make sure you have those on set, especially if you're shooting exterior and you need to run power to this. So Godox did send me the Fresnel, the F10 Fresnel with it, which further increases the output and it allows me to focus my light as far as the beam of where I'm projecting it to from a certain degrees or a certain angle, which also gives me more light output by magnifying the output that's coming out of it through the Fresnel itself. So let's talk about the different modes on this light. You have CCT mode, you have HSI mode, you have gel mode. So you can do different kind of gel emulations like Roscoe, color correction, Kalman. Also, what's really cool about this light is you can set it to different presets. So if you know you have a different, look in mind, or you do a certain, kind of like RGB preset where you have a certain percentage, hue, saturation, you could do tons of presets on this, which is really nice. So that way you can just go into that preset and you're good to go once you click it. You don't have to fiddle around or worry about changing the color temperature, the hue, the saturation, the RGB mode, the luminance, and all that kind of stuff. What I also like about this light is it has a green and magenta shift. So if you are someone that is working with different lights, say ceiling lights or something like that, and they have to be kept on and you're getting a little bit too much green or a little bit too much magenta, you can adjust that on this light through the control box. So that's really nice to dial in color accuracy. Now, obviously you want to set your white balance as best as you can in camera, but if you're working in a space that you cannot turn off the lights or manipulate the lights and they're giving some sort of cast off, instead of having to fix it in post and you see that in camera, you could do it within the light. You could take out the green or you could take out the magenta, which is super awesome. Also, what I love about the light is that you can increase the intensity by 0.1 of a percentage, which is really nice for dialing in just enough light. You don't have to worry about going up a percentage or a couple percents at a time. You can do it at 0.1, which is really awesome. Has all the built-in effects that you would possibly need: fireworks, TV, flashlight, lightning, all of that cool stuff if you wanted to do effects. So for instance, if you wanted to use like a lightning effect and you were putting this outside exterior for an interior shot and you want to mimic lightning, then you can do so, which is really awesome. All around, this light is just superb. It is beefy, it is made hefty. The control box is really nice and really easy to use. Comes with some huge power cables. So what that tells me is that this thing is drawing a lot of power. And in order to regulate good power, you have to have a good controller and you have to have beefy power cables in order to feed that power back and forth. Another thing that you want to maybe think about is if you're lighting up exterior spaces, The parabeam reflector that Godox has for this light would basically open up a whole new world. Literally, you could light up a side of a building with this parabeam reflector, and that would be pretty awesome if you had to do something like that. And the case scenario that you would use that in. So if you're lighting an exterior shot and you want a home to be brought up as far as exposure and light, using this light with a parabeam is going to basically triple, if not quadruple, the output of it. And yes, that is a separate thing, but just, keep in mind that I'm telling you this because it's very functional. This has a reflector that comes with it. The Fresnel you can use and the parabeam you can use. So pretty much any situation that you would need to use this exterior wise and have more power than you possibly could probably want for that particular scenario, this thing can do. The yoke that comes with it is really nice, really beefy, locks into place really nicely. It does not drift, it does not sway, it does not creep or anything like that. It also has a lock on the side of it, so that way you can ensure that this thing will not move once you have it pointed up or pointed down, which is really nice as well. So like I said, I've used this on interviews, I've used this for exterior shots, interior shots. I used it a couple of weeks ago for my short film, and this thing simply is amazing. It does not let me down. It hasn't let me down once. The fan noise on it is not super quiet, but it is very audible. You really can't notice it that much, especially if it's far away from any microphones or any talent wearing any microphones. So I wouldn't worry about fan noise on it. Even though it's a big beefy light, not once have I ever noticed the fan kicking on or staying on to where it was a distraction, or I thought that, hey, I need to get this away from the mic or the subject because it's too loud. So that's something to be aware of and something that is really good, especially for the light output that this puts out. And I've not even noticed that, excuse me, at 100%. So that's a good thing. And like I said earlier, you get full DMX control. I don't know much about DMX, but if you do, or basically you need DMX control for this light, it does have it where you can hardwire in to a DMX controller. So if you have a series of these lights or other lights that work with DMX control, that way you can control them remotely with the DMX controller. This can do it. Bluetooth, again, comes in super handy. So if you have this light outside and you need to control the color temperature, or if you need to change the intensity of it, you can do that through the Godox app really easily, which is nice and very useful. Again, it also has Ethernet capability, so that way you can use that in order to control the light as well. It has a silent waterproof fan. I know I talked about the fan, but it will give you reliable performance even in rainy or wet or cold conditions to -4 degrees Fahrenheit. So basically, this light is not going to conk out on you or mess up or anything like that in any kind of elements or extreme weather. And another thing that I like about it is it has curves on it. So you have linear curve, S curve, which you can adjust inside the light, which is pretty awesome. So that's a more technical thing that I really haven't dived into, but it's really nice that you can adjust the curve of the light and the output that you would be getting from it. Also, as far as gamma shift, like I mentioned earlier, magenta or green, you can change that. And you can also do firmware upgrades on this light via the USB-A port. So that way, if they do come out with firmware updates, your light can stay up to date with all the latest functionality and everything that Godox puts out. And you can ensure that this light will give you flicker-free operation. So a lot of lights, cheaper lights, sometimes will give you a little bit of flicker in your camera due to your shutter speed or your shutter angle. This light does not do that. I've never had an issue with it. Hence, right now, I'm just talking with this YouTube video here, and it's 24 frames per second. I'll also use it in 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second, and I've never had to adjust my shutter speed or shutter angle because the light was giving off any sort of flicker. So yeah, all in all, guys, this light is really awesome. There's so many features packed into it, and you probably say, well, why would I get this light? Because I can get a 600 watt light cheaper. Yeah, but cheaper doesn't always mean better. For all the features that you get, the effects, the color temperature between 1800 and 10,000. It is bicolor. Not only is it bicolor, but it's RGB. You can also change the hue individually with the saturation and the intensity of your RGB. You have curves, you have gamma shift, you have Ethernet control, Bluetooth control. Literally anything that you want this light to do, it can pretty much do. And you can get real technical with it if you want to. Well, with the curves and the magenta green shift and everything that it has packed in it is much more that I've seen out of any other light or any other competitor, because I've used other 600 watt lights, 720 watt lights, and they don't have as much feature wise and feature rich packed into this light. They've pretty much thought of everything that you could want to manipulate technical wise in this light for your picture to come out the best that it can. And that's what I really appreciate about this light. It's not just a 600-watt light that actually can do more than 600 watts. It's a light that no matter what scenario you are in, it's gonna do its job, and it's gonna do its job well. And I really wanna get my hands on the 1200, because then we're talking about big boy status, right? And because yeah, 600 is a lot, don't get me wrong. But like I said, you can compete with the sun, maybe not direct sun. So if the direct sun is just hitting you or something like that, or hitting your subject or hitting your interior or something like that, it may just blend into it, but a 1200 definitely would take care of anything that you throw at it, including the sun. But all in all, for an all-arounder light at 600 watts, if I had to buy this light, I would buy it in a heartbeat, especially at 1690 bucks. Like literally, this will be the light that you take everywhere. And when you pull up on set or production with this, you look very professional. It's not skimpy. It's very, very, very nice, guys. And I'm not just saying that because Godox sent it to me. I'm not a shill at all. I genuinely like this light. Now at 2,500 bucks, that would be hard, right? Because that's a lot of money. That's basically a camera. But lighting is just as important as cameras, right? Because you need to shape your image. You need to light your image, because without it, it just won't look good. And maybe you could get some different lights and maybe a mixture of lights so you have more lights. But I would go for quality over quantity anytime. So like I said, at $2,500, yes, that's a lot, but I still think it's worth it. I think it's even more so worth it at $1,690 right now. I would pick it up, because basically you're looking at being able to get almost two of these for the normal price. Add a few more bucks with it, 500 more bucks, and you can get two of them for the price that it normally is. So at $1,690, I would definitely get it, guys. I'm telling you, this light is phenomenal, and I've used other lights. I won't mention the manufacturers' names because I have worked with them in the past, but this by far, out of three different other lights that I've used in this power range, is my favorite, and it will be my light that I use going forward for all my production. So I hope this video helped you today. I hope what I showed you as far as the usage of it basically resonated with you, and you would consider getting it for your productions or your studio work, exterior work, interior work, or whatever you want to use it on, because I really do think it's a jam-packed value. And I just want to thank you guys for tuning into the channel. And pretty soon, that short film that I've been talking about forever now, it's happened. It's already done. It's wrapped. It's currently in post-production. I'm doing another one in a couple of weeks. So like I said, I want to start doing more behind the scenes, using these products, showing these products, not just lighting, but the cameras, the lenses, the audio, kind of like the structure of it, what goes into it. And let me tell you, making a film, even a short film, is not for the weak. It takes a village. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, but I love it. And I don't want to just talk about gear anymore. I want to show the gear off. So look for that on this channel. The BTS of that's coming soon, as well as the short film. Then the next short film is happening in a couple weeks, so that will be debuting on the channel as well. So I hope this video helped you in possibly making a decision for your next big production light. And if it did, let me know in the comments. Let me know also what you think about this light and what you've seen so far. I would genuinely like to know. Special thanks again to Godox for sending this light out to me. I do appreciate it. I love it, and I'm going to continue to use it for a time period to come. And until the next time, be safe, be kind, take care of each other, and thanks for sticking around and tuning in. Take care.